Hey folks, End All Be All here, and we are back with the second week of Grand Arena Championship. Now, for this particular week, it's been a bit of a break. It's been about a week since I put out the last video. I didn't really record individual commentary for each of the three battles that I did this week, just because some of them weren't really that interesting in terms of my opponents or the kind of teams I had to face. So what I decided to do was I decided to wait till the 3 days are done, and then give an overall summary video of my week to tell you guys how it went, and then just take certain interesting videos and give commentary on those. And then hopefully we'll get some better opponents next week. So this week we won all three of our matches pretty comfortably, in fact. So let me give a brief overview of the three matches, and then I'll go and talk about a few specific battles that I found interesting that I think the community would like to know about. So the first match I faced 077 Sinus Puma, who wasn't really wasn't really that serious about GAC. I think it had 600k banners or something like that. And I cleared him, one-shot his board 3140, and he didn't even bother attacking me. So this guy was one of those opponents who likes to, he had 4 GLs and he always keeps all 4 GLs on defense. So it was pretty predictable looking at his history that that's what he was going to do. So I saved all my 4 GLs on offense and was able to clear the board pretty effectively. I think it was a one-shot. I might have dropped one battle somewhere, maybe ships. But that was a pretty easy outcome. Second battle was against Chaka, who had 5 GLs versus the 4 that I have. And looking at, he was also very predictable. Looking at his GAC history, he typically kept about 4 GLs out of his 5 GLs on defense. So that's what I was expecting. Again, kept all four of my GLs on offense, and was able to take out his zone pretty comfortably. And he kept a reasonably tough defense otherwise as well. At the back, I think he kept Han and Chewie, who I'd never seen on defense before. Gas, I think also, and probably I think also Finn Bros and quite a few other teams, apart from 4 GLs. So this took a little bit of doing, and I think I dropped a couple of battles here and there, but I was able to clear his board as well pretty comfortably. And Chaka, unlike my previous first round opponent, this guy, he did try. But he wasn't able to make much headway on my defense. He dropped a couple of battles on the Rex team, the Rex 5's team with tech, and then at the back just wasn't able to, didn't have enough left in his roster to clear any of my other zones. So only one zone cleared over there, and that was again another comfortable victory. And then the final match against Clarty Marty. He was a little bit more of a serious opponent, I think 850k lifetime banners. He also, just like my previous opponent, had 5 GLs to my 4 GLs. So, but he usually keeps, he plays a very balanced game. Usually keeps 2 GLs on defense and keeps a reasonably tough defense, DR, gas, all of that. But this time he went completely efficiency. He kept a relatively cheese defense, really nothing much, as you can see over there. Relatively cheese defense, and then decided to keep all his good teams on offense, all 5 GLs, all of his meta teams like Gas and CLS and DR and all of that stuff, which is why he was able to clear me. He did one-shot my he didn't one-shot my board, but he was able to clear me. So he got about 3,094 banners, and I one-shot his board to get 3162. So that was a very comfortable victory. You can see over here he did struggle a little bit on my defense, a couple of battles on gas, one-shot the rest of my character zone. Yeah, pretty comfortably over there. But in the ship zone, I this whole week I've been keeping both the negotiator as well as the executor on defense. So in the ship zone, he lost a couple of battles on the executor. This guy has got a really, really good rebel fleet, like completely relicked up and all that. So I was expecting him to one-shot my executor. So glad to see a hold over here. So a couple of battles dropped for him, and he lost on efficiency as well. And I won by about 70 banners just because I one-shot his board. So pretty good outcome for this week. Pretty comfortable wins So what I wanted to do was showcase a few of the battles over the next 20 minutes or so. Hopefully you guys will find this stuff interesting. Now I'm going to start off with the Bad Batch versus Grievous battle. Now this one is actually a loss, but I really wanted to showcase this battle because, you know, this Bad Batch versus Grievous is usually a given in 5v5. You typically end with 61 banners or 60 banners if you take an Omega as well. In 3v3, if things don't go right, what could happen is you can end up getting buff immunity, and buff immunity is the death knell for Bad Batch. You can see over here, I did manage to land the stun on a couple of them, but because Magna Guard wasn't stunned, and because Magna Guard has got that cleanse ability, he was able to cleanse the debuffs from the daze and the damage immunity from B2, and when that happened, the team got complete control of the situation. And there you can see buff immunity and target lock. It basically did my team in, and I was able to get down to only Grievous, but it was a loss. And you always want a first round victory against Grievous. You don't want to drop any battles. So this particular case, it wasn't really a favorable outcome, and it ended up dropping this battle. So this is definitely something that I wanted to highlight to show that in 3v3, in not all cases will you find Bad Batch work against Grievous. You have to, if things don't go your way and you land and you get buff immunity landed, then and you get stuck behind a taunt, which is the Magna Guard taunt, things can go sideways over there. So against Grievous, I would still prefer to use teams like JKR, Padme, or Bosk is pretty successful as well. Bosk, Grief, and Mando, and in some rare cases you can take Night Sisters in if you are really, really desperate. But even that has been known to fail if the two droids surrounding Grievous die really, really quickly. So Bad Batch, I would rather save for some other team, especially after seeing the outcome of this particular battle. Now let's go to another battle. And this one was one of the 8 GLs that I faced in the first couple of battles. It's an interesting team. I've never really seen Jedi Knight Luke Skywalker with Jedi Master Luke without a Watt in there, because that would have made this a little more tricky. But as I had my own Kenobi and Cat, I was able to take out Jedi Knight Luke way before he even got to go. So that's one advantage of having the flexibility of keeping your General Kenobi and Cat on offense, is you can delete one important character before he even gets a chance to go. Definitely, if Watt was in this team, it would have made things that much more difficult, because JKL and JML can actually form a pretty decent combo. Just because of the extra damage output. In my opinion, it's somewhat of a waste, because JKL is almost like half a GL by himself, and you're putting both of them into a same squad. You can get two really decent squads out of it, either on offense or defense. I think, in my personal opinion, it's sort of a little bit of a waste. You might as well go with other squads which are uniformly tough. So we are now we are done with this particular battle. 54 banners pretty easily. This was one of the 8 GLs that I faced in the first couple of matches. This is another GL match that I had, and this one was a Ray Mirror. And Ray Mirrors, as you guys know, it's pretty straightforward. You always need to go in with a Hoda just to have that extra insurance. The third character can vary. If I see tanks on the team, then I know that if I can't reach Ray directly using Bastilla to apply the ability block, then I take my own tank Holdo in there. So if there are tanks on the team, or a person who hides like R2D2, then I take my own tank. But if there are no tanks on the team, it's like if there are Han and Chewie, or if there's the Hero brothers. In that case, you can take Basti in there, because you'll be able to hit Ray directly and ability block her to prevent the whirlwind and the lifeblood. But in this particular case, because there was a tank, you just give a few lifebloods to your own tank Holdo, and you'll be able to survive more than enough. The second thing to pay attention, and I've mentioned this in a few other videos, is you have to go into your ultimate at the right time. You need to make sure that you do enough lifebloods, and you need to make sure that you go into the ultimate when the enemy Ray has gone into her ultimate, and when she's over a certain amount of turn meter, because when she goes into ultimate, Rey's speed gets reduced by about 30% or so. So you need to make sure that her turn meter bar is more than 30 or 40% before you enter into ultimate. That way you'll still be in ultimate when the enemy Rey comes out of ultimate. Now in this particular case, you can see my own Rey. I don't have the ultimate bar yet, but you can see over here now the enemy Rey is at about 60-70%, maybe 80% turn meter. This is the perfect time to do your own ultimate, because you know that the enemy Rey is going to move next. So there you go. The enemy Rey moved while I was still in damage immunity, and I am able to get out of my ultimate now and do pretty good damage against this Rey. So do a whirlwind, take out the Rey, and now it's just a question of ending with full health and full protection on R2D2 to basically end with 54 banners. So now it's a simple enough match. So that's typically it's the Rey is the one who's left behind, because you typically do ultimate whirlwind on the surrounding characters. But in this case, since Rey was low in health, I decided to do that and end with a full 54 banners over here. There you go. So that was one of the other GL matches that I had. Let's see what else I want to showcase over here. Oh yeah, this was another interesting GL match. Now SLKR with the Daka and Zombie, one of the hard counters to that is going to be a JML squad, especially if a JML is faster and you can apply ability block around the board. The other thing, two characters that I really love to take if you are going against the SLKR is characters who can spread foresight. So Grandmaster Yoda or Hermit Yoda. Both these guys are really great to have on the team. Apart from these guys, you also need someone who does tons of damage. You can go with gas, you can go with JKL. Cam is a great option because my gas and JKL are usually always on defense. So Cam is a great option to go over here to get that damage done. And Hermit and Grandmaster Yoda also is pretty good because he gains turn meter, unlike in a Jedi Master Kenobi team where he can't gain turn meter. In this particular case, he does gain turn meter. He does plenty of damage. He spreads foresight around, and he takes a bonus turn as well. Both Cam as well as Grandmaster Yoda, they take bonus turns, which can then refresh the lead ability that Jedi Master Luke has, which can help to keep the enemy SLKR in check and prevent him from reaching the ultimate. Right now you can see his ultimate bar is filled up, so I want to make sure that I get rid of him before he does it. Unfortunately, couldn't prevent the ultimate, so I need to make sure that I get into my own ultimate and take care of him after he comes out. Now here I call Hermit Grandmaster Yoda just so that he gets turn meter, and then I immediately spread the foresight with him, which helps because that helps SLKR dodge everything that he just did with his big swipe. Now it's a pretty simple job to take it out. So not great banners, but at least it was one shot. 49 banners is not really good, but at least it was one shot. And I didn't really use any premium Jedi like JKL or gas. All right. Let's see what the next battle is. Yep. So I was talking about Grievous and how Bosk is really a good counter to Grievous. This is one example of a team that you definitely can very easily counter with Bosk team. And that's going to be your B1 and B2 along with Grievous. In this case, because there's no tank, you can easily go after the weakest character, which in this case is B1, and get your contract really, really fast. You do need your surrounding bounty hunters to be a little thick over here. G13 is not really needed. Only my Bosk is G13 R5, but both my Mando as well as Grief are G12 with tons of protection. So that, in my opinion, is more than enough to survive an AoE from Grievous. So you can see over here, pretty soon I get the contract, and I'm able to take care of Grievous right away. And then it's just a question of finishing off the last character to get 53, 54 banners. Excuse me. In this case, it was a G12 B1 B2, which is why I wasn't able to delay to recover banners. But in case it's a relic B2, you typically do recover the full 54 banners. All right, let's see what else we want to showcase over here. All right, this was an interesting team because you usually never see troopers on defense. And this guy kept his Veers and Piet were G13 with relics on them, but his Moff Gideon was only G10 or something like that. But he kept his troopers, and his Veers team was reasonably fast. I think Piet was, I think, about 290 or so, which is not the fastest Piet, but it did allow me to go first because my Kara was faster than his Piet with the speed bump from Veers. So typically you don't want to take in Mon Mothma against this team, but if you outspeed them, Kara has got really great anti-Empire properties. So you can, she stuns all of the Empire with her special, which is really great. So anytime I see an Empire team that I outspeed with Kara, I always tend to take her with that. Also, anytime an Empire enemy dies, Kara gets 100% turn meter. I think it's 50% usually, but with an Empire ally over there, you get 100% turn meter. So troopers are another one of those teams where you've got relic high damage troopers. You typically want to overkill them with something because you don't want them to take a turn and take control of the situation. But in this particular case, Cara Dune does a really great job of countering troopers just because of her anti-Empire synergy. So this team, any other Empire team, if you've got Cara Dune on offense, put her in with Mon Mothma, and she'll do great. The other person that I had on the team was Biggs, and Biggs also has got tons of anti-Empire synergy. So if you read Biggs kit, if he gets crit or if he's damaged by an Empire character, then he gets 100% turn meter. So even if you're facing any Empire character, I always go with Cara Dune and Biggs, because in case Biggs gets hit by Empire, then he gets to take a turn, and then it brings the control back to your own team, and then your team can then take care of the rest of the characters. All right, the next battle. Let's see which one is this. I think this was a BAM versus. Let's see. It was a BAM versus a crew battle, and this is something that I've done quite a lot before. I love taking in BAM versus Kylo Ren unmasked, and in the other spot there's usually Fox or Red Trooper, sometimes Hux in there. So I love to take this particular team in just because they've got so many things which are anti-First Order. They can apply shock, which prevents healing. They can also apply stun. They've got foresight, which makes OG Kylo's AOE completely miss them. They've got whistling birds, which do true damage, which is great against a defense or health or modded crew. In general, it's a great squad. They've got damage immunity as well. They've got tons of healing. All three of them have got some sort of healing. They've got tons of anti-stun, anti-debuff abilities. Both the IG-11 and Quill can't be stunned, and IG-11 especially dispels all debuffs on all your allies. So the 2-turn stun that crew has, that never sticks with this team. And just because IG-11, the moment he takes a turn, he dispels all debuffs on all his allies. So a really great team to take against First Order squads. So here you can see I have about 10 whistling birds. I almost take care of crew over there, but you can see over here I'm doing pretty well in terms of banners. I keep recovering banners over here and keep applying foresight at the right time, and here I heal up once again. So I'm at full protection and full health on everyone. Now I just need to do a little bit more on crew, and then we are done. So here again you see, try to stun over there, but shock is there, which is great. And now I do the final healing ability and full protection and health on everyone with the exception of Quill. So I get 53 over there, which is good because this is supposed to be a banner stripping team. Especially if you take something like JTR against it, it'll strip your banners. You'll typically end with 51 over there. Now, this is one squad that you see quite a lot on defense these days. Maul, Marauder, and Sidious, because a lot of people have these guys relic for GL requirements. They typically tend to steal banners quite a lot because they have the speed advantage, the TM advantage. They get to go first, and they all have AoEs, so they tend to strip banners. Plus, if you do out of turn attacks, Sith Marauder goes as well, and the Sidious gains turn meter on enemy death as well. So they've all got turn meter generation capabilities as well as AoEs. And what I usually like to take against these guys are JKR, because JKR's lead ability, JKR can take care of this team pretty easily with the mark and all of that to prevent them from going into stealth. And JKR's lead ability also prevents the extra bonus TM from taking into effect. So that helps the JKR team to go first. So I usually mark down Sith Marauder and then take him down and then focus on the other two. But this particular squad is also the Boss squad, Grief and Mando. They're also pretty good in terms of taking this squad down for maximum banners, and it's cheaper than JKR as well, because these guys, Bosk is pretty hefty, and they've got tons of healing, tons of cleansing ability over there. It might take a little bit of while to get to the contract, just because the weakest character can sometimes go into stealth, and you can't directly get to them. But these guys will be able to withstand the tough hits that Marauder gives out, just because Bosk has got so much health and protection and defense, bonus defense as well. And he's always taunting. He can survive a few big hits from Marauder. So what I do over here is I just wait till Marauder is out in the open and I get my contract. I take care of him, and then the rest of the team falls down pretty easily. There's really not much damage for the rest of the team, and it's pretty easy to end with full health and full protection. So these kind of squads, if you see in the front zone and you don't want to waste something really heavy against it, if you want to save your good squads for the back, and at the same time you want to get good banners, one good team to take against it is going to be the Bounty Hunter squad. They will evade a lot and go into stealth, but all that really doesn't matter, because it's just a question of time before you get through to them. Another squad you can really take against this is anything with Wampa, because Wampa on his basic, it can't be evaded, and these guys are pretty slippery. So get Wampa in there, his damage escalates, and you can do and his basic can't be evaded. That team actually also does pretty well against this particular squad. You can take him either with Stormtrooper Han, Basti, Hoda, whatever you want, whatever supporting characters you want, and they'll do a pretty decent job against that team as well. All right, let's see what other squads I want to take in over here. I want to showcase to you guys. Oh yeah, speaking of Wampa, now this is another squad that it's just tons of fun. Stormtrooper Han, Watt, and Wampa. And this is great against either rebel teams where Wampa does additional 100% damage, or against teams which have single target attacks, teams which don't do AoEs, so that they don't have a way of getting around and hitting Watt or Wampa. Those kind of teams are really great over here, because Stormtrooper Han, he keeps constantly taunting, and there are multiple ways in which he gains back protection. There's his own unique, there's his Zeta, there's Watt's tech. So tons of way in which he returns back protection. So it's a pretty sturdy team to have in your back pocket in GAC, especially if you want to end with decent banners and you want to not waste anything too expensive. This is one of my favorite teams to take. If you can spare Watt. Watt is really great on defense as well in 3v3. In this particular case, my own preference is to keep Watt on offense, just to take against some troublesome teams which require you to prevent revives or just ignore defense like that. All right, now this battle, Boba, yeah. So a lot of people have got Boba relicked up now because of Executrix requirements. So an R8 Boba is actually a pretty great character. You can do tons with him, and especially on his own lead where he gets plus 50% critical damage, he can do tons of nasty things. Now look over here. a 90k hit on Biston with 3 or 4 debuffs over there. Took him out right away. And the great thing about Boba is if you've got he prevents revives, and if you've got that Zeta, then he ends with full health and full protection, and that is that's one great way in which you can end with decent banners. I think I just double tap over here. Yep. So Boba is another one of those characters where if you plug him in with Vandor, who also helps to recover protection, Vandor is obviously not going to revive Boba, but if you have Vandor, Boba, and L3, for example, L3 can be your tank to take all the heat. Vandor can help to revive L3 and regenerate L3's protection. Boba can regenerate protection on his own when he kills characters. And both Vandor and L3, they help to reduce the damage from the enemy as well as keep the heat off Boba. So that's another team which is pretty good to take in. Another team that I really want to try out with Boba is Boba with Han and Chewie. The extra damage boost is really going to be helpful. Even Boba with IG-11 and Quill also might be a good idea. There's IG-11 Quill basically gives out this buff which which first speeds up Boba as well as increases his critical damage by 40%, and at the same time Quill also shares his offensive stats with the other scoundrels on the team. So Boba's offense really goes through the roof, and first turn you can go and annihilate someone pretty easily. You can do up to 120 130k damage just like that on offense. So that could be another good team as well on offense. So yep, looking forward to playing more with Boba in 3v3 in the coming weeks, especially now that I've got him up there for executor requirements. Now I've got, I think, a couple of GL battles over here. This one is pretty straightforward. This is a typical Basti Watt JML squad that you usually see in the back wall. In this case, I think my opponent kept in the front wall, which is usually a big mistake because there are a few teams which can very easily take it out for really high banners. The most popular one being SLKR. You can use SLKR over there, solo SLKR, to just build up the mastery and then take out everyone for 55 banners pretty easily. So in this particular case, I used my SLKR somewhere else. I think to take out a Sith Eternal or something like that. So I decided to use my JMK against this one with both the Ahsokas, Cat and Snips. And in this case also, JMK also is a very hard counter against this squad just because of the healing immunity that JMK applies. Prevents this guy from healing, and then you can go and take him down pretty easily as he won't be able to heal up fast enough. The other advantage of this team is, we can Cat. You have a way of making Cat do escalating damage. She has a way to build up her critical damage. So if you even if healing immunity wasn't there, if you make your Cat give Shien to a couple of characters and make them attack out of turn or evade, then very soon your own Cat, her big hit, the Force Leap, does increasingly more amounts of damage. So you can build it up and then do a big hit to take out the enemy team pretty comfortably. So that's another option, even if healing immunity wasn't there. But as it stands, this team is a pretty comfortable 54 banners against the enemy squad over here. All right, so there you go. So it's taken care of for 54 banners. And I think I've got another GL battle. This one is a Rey Mirror. Yeah, this is another team that I really love to use. Han and Chewie. Sometimes you see Han and Chewie on defense with Rey. And in my opinion, it's a waste of a team just because, you're breaking up two great teams over here. Han and Chewie, who are great on offense, and then Rey, who is pretty formidable with any two characters. The two characters I really love to see with Han to go against Rey with Han and Chewie, because there's sometimes a danger of timing out as well. Or sometimes these guys do more than enough damage to take out your Basti or other characters. So I really like to take IG-11 and Quill in here because these guys, IG-11 and Quill, can't be stunned. Quill can't be stunned as long as IG-11 is there, and IG-11, even if he gets stunned, he can come out of stun once he takes a turn. So over here, you'll see that this team can't be stunned. So a big part of what makes the Han Solo team that effective, which is controlling the battle right from the beginning, that's neutralized completely. Plus these guys have got plenty of healing, and IG-11 also heals on crit. Every time he gets crit, he recovers 20% protection. Quill has got his own healing. He does shock, which is great against Chewie, to control Chewie as well, and he's got stun as well. And you've got Ray's Whirlwind, which is going to do the main damage over there. So very soon you're able to come back to only Ray and only Ray on the enemy team, and then you have all the time in the world to do bonus protection, heal up, and make sure that you time your ultimate properly to take care of the enemy Ray. So there's plenty of time over here to take the enemy Ray down, and ensure that you end with both the characters. So here I go into ultimate, and I don't think I'll be able to recover full health and full protection. Yeah, still far away over here, but still far away from getting Ray down, but we're working on her. Lucky thing is our IG-11 is so tanky that he's able to taunt and take quite a few whirlwinds from enemy Ray. So this is another great use of IG-11 and Quill is with Ray. If you're going with a mirror, almost any version of the Ray team that you see in the mirror, IG-11 and Quill will be able to take them out. Now, obviously, if Cat is in the enemy team, you have to make sure that you take out Cat first, because she can probably get rid of your IG-11. But in that case, if Cat is there, one thing that you can do is Quill has got that ability which gives that special buff. All right, so now this enemy was taken out for 53. So I was talking about Cat. So Quill has got a special ability which gives that I don't remember what it's called, but it gives the buffs to IG-11 and all droids and scoundrels. And if a droid dies, they immediately get revived if they have that buff on them. So if you're facing an enemy Ray with Cat, you have to ensure that you have to be able to anticipate when Cat is going to do her big force leap, and you have to give that buff at that time. And as long as IG-11 is taunting and he has that buff up, he will revive after Cat does the force leap. So very similar to how Scarif Rebel Pathfinder revives if he has a buff, and then you can heal him up and put Master's Training on him and continue with the battle 3 versus 3. In this particular case also, if you're able to get the buff up at the right time with Quill, your IG-11 will revive and you can continue the battle, which is why this is a really formidable team, and in my opinion one of the best teams to take in a Ray mirror. But in this particular case, not everyone will be able to afford IG-11 and Quill, because they make a great team with other scoundrels or with BAM on their own on offense. But this is an option if you're facing a particularly tough Ray team on defense. All right, so I think that's about it. That's all that I had. Those are all the battles that I had for showcasing. It was a good week, very light week, low stress, really nothing much to showcase. I'm hoping I get some really good formidable opponents next week, because that's when I get tense and start strategizing. That's when the best of my GAC comes out. So hopefully you guys will get to see more of that next week in week 3. All right, until then, I will sign off. I'll see you guys in a few days once the first match of the 3rd week comes around. Until then, take care and happy gaming.